Have you ever noticed that some pet owners, they post content of their animal and they land brand deal after brand deal after brand deal? But then other pet owners, they post content of their animal and they hear absolutely nothing back. They land no deals and they're not actually getting paid. The same adorable pet, they have the same phone, it's the same platform. But what's the difference? Today, I'm going to show you why those two creators, they're not different in talent, they're not different in luck, they're not different in how cute their little animal is, but I am going to show you what actually separates them. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk about the opportunity in Pet UGC, okay? Pet owners are some of the most emotionally driven buyers in any given market. Really think about it, okay? People buy organic food for their dog. They are celebrating their cat's birthday. They spend more on their pet's vet bill than they do on their own doctor visits. I know I definitely fall into that category. And the thing is, brands know this. They know how emotionally driven pet owners are. And so for them, they need authentic content that feels like real life with a real animal. They don't want this stage performance shot in a studio. There's no emotional connection. They want someone to watch their content and be like, oh, that reminds me of me and my animal in our home. So here are the numbers, okay? These numbers blew my mind. And I even knew how big Pet UGC was. But when I was doing research for this episode, I was like, wait, what? There are 94 million U.S. households that own a pet right now as of May 2026. That is nearly 71% of all households have a pet. And Americans, this is really the astounding number to me. Americans are spending $157 billion on their pets this year. $157 billion on their pets this year. Now, think about what the marketing budget looks like for brands that are competing for a piece of that $157 billion. You best believe they're paying, okay? Now, another really interesting piece of the puzzle when it comes to really understanding UGC is understanding the buyer. So Gen Z, they are the generation that is really driving the growth when it comes to how much people spend on their pets. Gen Z, they love their animals, okay? And they love to spend money on their animals. They are spending money on their animals that I would argue some people would say, well, they should be spending that on their children. They're not having kids, they're buying pets, okay? And Gen Z is relying heavily on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram to discover and purchase these pet products. So they're not, Googling what is the best dog treat. They're getting on TikTok and seeing what TikTok recommends. And so the buyers for this $157 billion budget, they are on the exact platform that you, my friend, are already creating content for. That is why the opportunity in Pet UGC is so real and it is growing so rapidly. But a lot of creators are treating it very casually. They're treating it like, oh, it's just like cute pet content. And because they are treating it so casually, they are not seeing any momentum. Now, I was a little into Pet UGC prior to getting my baby sausage dog, Theo. I do have another dog. His name is Bobo. We call him Bobo the Hobo. He is a rescue pit bull. And then I've got my two orange girls, my two orange cats, and they have their own Pet UGC brand as well. They definitely got paid, I would say, but it seemed when I started pitching with Theo that things really took off in the Pet UGC direction. And I'll be super honest, Pet UGC with Theo was one of the things that opened my eyes to the fact that I could make UGC not just my full-time job, but a business that could change the way me and my husband live. Okay, that is how serious this money is. Some of the amounts that these brands are paying, even now today, they blow my mind, okay? Now, I'll admit, at first I was a little nervous when I started pitching with Theo because he's in obedience school for a reason, okay? We call him our naughty little sausage because he's something else, okay? He's a handful. And I will never forget, I was on a call with one of his first big brands, okay, like big national brand. They had put out a campaign on a platform. I think they had over 2,000 people apply for this particular campaign, and they chose, I believe, 20 creators, and Theo was one of them. And so we get on this call with this brand. I'm already nervous because it's a really big brand and it's a really big opportunity, and it's a, multi-year potential deal, and it's monthly income, and it's a really good amount, okay? And so I'm, trying to be prepared. And you probably know when you're dealing with the pet, they gonna do what they want to do, right? And he was being so bad on this call. It was like I had taken him on a walk. I'd given him one of his calm chews. Like I did everything. And I was like, he's just going to nap through this whole call. He acted like a complete lunatic. And so I'm sitting there on this Zoom call with this brand, and I'm thinking they're probably going to be like, they're like texting each other like, oh, we've got to get rid of this girl. This dog is so bad. Then all of a sudden, the CMO of the freaking company was on the call, and they were all so excited. And it was in that moment for me that it clicked. I was like, oh, this is the authenticity that they want. Like they want a pet with personality that also has an owner with the personality, because they can monetize on that. Like it literally all clicked for me on that call, when they were so excited when like he was, acting naughty, and then like I was like trying to talk to him, and his baby voice, and it was just a whole thing, and they ate it up. And so you best believe when something clicks for me, I lean all the way into it. So I realized, after we got off the call and I kind of journaled on it for a couple weeks, I realized that I was so serious about my lifestyle UGC and my health and wellness UGC and my, like cleaning. I do a lot of cleaning products, like product UGC and home UGC. I had all these systems, and I had this like really airtight business over here in this little bubble. But when it came to pet UGC, in my mind, I was just like, oh, it's just for fun. It's extra. It's bonus. And I realized, I'm like, Blakely, why don't you just fuse the two? Why don't you take your systems and your strategy from your quote unquote other UGC business and push it with pet? And I'm telling you, that was when it all clicked, was when I put real systems behind my pet UGC. So if you were like, I have no clue where to start with pet UGC, all of this sounds great, all of this sounds incredible, you're selling me the dream, but where do I even start? I'm about to give you a framework, okay? It is going to be a framework that is going to help you not only pitch and position yourself in front of brands, but it's also going to help when it comes to the scripting and the filming and the actual deliverable side. So it is called the PETS framework, PETS framework, okay? And I'm telling you, this is going to be the juice, the sauce. You're not going to be able to find this framework anywhere else, because I have learned the hard way every part of this framework, okay? So here we go. The first part of the PETS framework is the P, and that stands for patience, and patience produces your best content. So I have learned for Theo, he can film for about 10 to 15 minutes max. When it comes to my own personal content, I can plan to film, 10 videos in a day. And yeah, I might get tired, but I can knock them out. But when it comes to pet UGC, you will know your pet better than anyone else, and you need to understand their capacity. Theo's capacity is 15 minutes a day max. Now, what this means is that some shots, some briefs are going to take multiple days. So whereas you might be able to knock out multiple briefs in a day, it might take you multiple days to knock out a brief when it comes to a pet. Hence why they pay so much, because they're a lot of work, okay? You cannot rush your pet. You cannot force them to do things that they don't want to do. You can't force I'm telling you, if you try, the content is going to read as they try too hard, and nobody wants to buy from people that are trying too hard. So when it comes to pet UGC, I want you to give yourself way more time than you think you're going to need. And I want you to let your pet lead. The moments that convert, and the moments that when I send them to a brand and they're like, oh, Oh my gosh, we love it. They are never forced. They are always just in the moment. And I'm telling you, patience and planning ahead and understanding your own personal pet's capacity, that is going to be a game changer for you to really be aware of it. Your pet might be able to film for longer than 15 minutes, but not Theo, okay? He is a 15 minutes a day max kind of guy, okay? So we've got the P portion of the PETS framework. P, patience produces your best content. So E is energy. Energy is your most powerful hook. You don't need a fancy script when it comes to Pet UGC. The authentic energy between you and your pet, like whatever their personality is. For Theo, he's mischievous. He is like kind of sometimes a little bad. Like that is what is going to stop the scroll for a consumer, because they're going to look at that pet in that moment and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is so realistic. My pet does that. Or like, that is so funny. I like know a pet that does that. Or look at that cute little dog. Like those authentic moments, that is what is going to stop the scroll. You really want to be able to capture the relationship between you and your pet and not just a performance. That is why it's so important, going back to patience, to give yourself plenty of time so you can really like capture those moments. 80% of the time when it comes to Pet UGC, you're going to be pivoting in the moment to what he gives you. In my personal opinion, Theo gives me better content than I could ever plan for myself. So one of my mottos in life really is I want to know the rules so that I can break them. Like I want to know, okay, what is expected here so that I can push the limits. That's just my own personal personality. And I feel the same about Pet UGC in terms of I want to know exactly what the brand needs, what they're expecting, their messaging hooks. I want to have a shot list and I want to have an outline of a script, and I want to know it so well. I want to have reviewed it and studied it and understand it and ask the brand questions. And I want to be so like, okay, I feel confident about this, that when it comes time to film, I'm just in the moment with my dog. And that way I can pivot on my feet, because 9 times out of 10, he's going to do something 10 times better than what I could have ever imagined. And I want to go, okay, this is what the brand needs. This is what I had planned, but this is what he's doing. How can we twist this? And I'm telling you, when you are prepared and when you are in the moment, you are able to pivot and like really capture those moments when they do crazy, funny things. And that is when brands fall in love with you and they come back over and over and over again. Okay, so we've got P, patience produces your best content. We've got E, energy is your most powerful hook. We're going to move on to T, which is tell a story that sells. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a harsh truth. Please don't hate me when I say what I'm about to say, but every single pet owner in America thinks their pet is the cutest. I know. I do too, but every single pet owner thinks that. So cute is not a differentiator. I have coached some UGC creators and they're like, well, I just can't get into Pet UGC. And I'm like, well, what are you doing to pitch? And they're like, well, I'm posting about my pet. I'm like, yeah, you and how many households did I say? You and 94 million US households are posting about your pet. Okay, like that is not going to help you stand out. That is not what brands are going to buy from you, because so many people have a cute pet, okay? What you need to lead with is your pet's personality. You want to lead with your pet's story. Like for me, Theo is not just a weenie. Like he is mischievous, he is funny, he is high energy, he's always in trouble. Like when I am doing, I'll do like a POV, point of view, deals with him, and we literally use the mischievous voice in CapCut. Like that's the one that I picked for him because it just fits him so well. Like that is his personality. Everything. He doesn't have his own portfolio yet, but he does have his own little section in my portfolio, and every story that we tell is built around him being mischievous. And I mean, this boy does some crazy stuff. And so I lean into that. Yes, he's adorable. And yes, I think he's the cutest dog in America. But if I just post about him and just hope that a brand finds him, literally they don't care, okay? But the story of your pet, the personality of your pet, that is what is going to make a buyer feel something. And that emotion is what is going to make them buy. And that is what brands are paying for. They're not just paying for another pet creator, okay? They're paying for that emotional feeling. And that feeling is what is going to get someone ultimately to buy. Okay, so we've got P, patience produces your best content. We've got E, energy is your most powerful hook. We've got T, tell a story that sells. And then last but not least, y'all know I cannot do a podcast episode without this. S is systems scale your success. Here's the thing about Pet UGC is it requires your full creativity. You need to be in the moment. You need to be looking, scanning the moment for the shot, the opportunity, the story that you can tell that is going to drive people to have that emotion. And you cannot show up in your full creativity when your business is chaotic. If you are going into a Pet UGC brief and you're like, okay, I don't even really know what shots I'm supposed to be getting. I meant to ask the brand this question and I forgot to ask them and I'm a little unsure about this and I haven't really thought through the script and I'm also a little worried because I haven't pitched in like a week and I also haven't checked my email and this other brand is waiting for me to respond about this thing. You're not going to be able to be in the moment. Like if all that stuff is running in the back of your head, you're not going to show up in your full creativity. And then you're going to, if you land a Pet UGC job, you're going to submit subpar content and the brand is going to be like, that was all right, but we could have gotten that from anybody. You're not going to get repeat clients. You're not going to get referrals to other brands and you're not going to get retainers. Like the content that you submit is the pitch for the retainer. It is the pitch for the repeat brand. I hear so many people, well, how do I get retainer? How do I get that retainer deal? Do a good job. When you get hired, do a good job and they're going to want to work with you again. And being in your full creativity and giving them content that comes from like your well of creativity that has never been created before, you coming up with these original storylines, that is how you're going to land those deals. Systems are what is going to protect your creative energy so that when it is time to film, you can just fully be in the moment. You're like, baby, my systems are running in the background. I ain't even worried about all this. Like I can be fully present with my pet. I can be in my full creativity and I'm going to give these brands the best that I can. Okay. So just one more quick rundown of the PETS framework. P is patience produces your best content. E is energy is your most powerful hook. T, tell a story that sells. And S, systems scale your success. I know this framework might sound simple and I know it might sound easy, but the things that are easy to do are just as easy not to do. So really remember that. I think oftentimes people want to overcomplicate something so that subliminally, if it doesn't work, they're like, oh, well, it was just too hard. It's not hard. It is easy. But when it's easy, it's just as easy not to do it. Okay. So, you know, I love to leave you with an actionable close, something that you can go do today. I don't want you to do it tomorrow or next week. I want you to do it today. So today, I want you to write down 3 words that describe your pet's personality. I don't want you to write down what breed they are and, oh, well, you know, my pet is 6 months old and he's a, you know, black and brown. I want you to write down 3 words that really describe their personality. And that is your pitch right there. That is your differentiator. That is where you're going to start. When you think about like, okay, I need examples in my portfolio. I need, when I'm posting content to present to brands, like think about those 3 words that help your brand, help your pet stand out. And that's what you're going to present to brands on a silver platter. Okay. You're going to be like, look, not only do I have a cute pet, so does everybody else, but this is how my pet is different. This is the story that my pet tells, and this is how I can offer that emotion to your brand, to your audience, so that they will buy. Okay. Now, if you have been listening to this episode and you're like, I hear you say systems, I hear you say run it like a business, but I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know where to start. If you want the full roadmap for building a UGC business that runs like a real business, this is whether you are filming with your pet, with a product, with a tech, or just yourself. UGC Unlocked, the starter system, has everything you're going to need. It's got foundation, it's got systems, it's got pitching, it's got getting paid, it's got communicating with brands, it has social media, it has branding, it has content. It also has, when you lay the foundation, how to scale that. All of that is in UGC Unlocked, the starter system. The link for that is in the show notes. I would absolutely love to see you inside of that program. Okay, that is all I've got for you today. Per usual, if you enjoyed this episode, give me a like on YouTube, give me a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're at, and make sure you follow so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I scripted so many episodes this weekend, and they are legitimately so good. Like, where was this when I started out 2 years ago? Because I was lost as a goose, okay? So I hope you're getting value out of this. If so, let me know, and I'll see you in the next episode.